Marc Chapman, portfolio manager for the Edge Invest Principia Fund, a long-short equity fund specialized on the European market that exceeds 150 million euro under management. Your fund is almost flat year to date versus negative double digit for the European equity markets. How were you able to generate such an extra performance versus the index year to date?
So the fund essentially is focused on NAV protection. We're very careful to make sure that the downside is protected in any environment, and we do that through a few means. The first one is that essentially we buy out of the money options when the market's calm, so when volatility rises, the fund is defended. And we also focus on trading carefully in our individual names to take profits into strength. We cut losers when they're going down, and we sometimes increase and decrease the overall gross exposure. So through these four metrics, we're able to defend the fund during times of market stress. And then following the stress, we then try to reinvest in the interest in names that we like.
And which are the investment opportunities that you expect going forward?
So the fund primarily focuses on stock-specific investment cases, companies which are driven by something internal going on within the business rather than a sector or a country. And the names we find are typically in sectors such as technology, industrials, medical technology. So recently we've been buying Sonova in Switzerland, which we think is a good long-term growth investment. Short term it's had some problems, but we now think the company's getting past those. Also, we have some interesting technology investments which are exposed to themes such as the machine-to-machine growth and the growth of Internet of Things. And that's primarily where we focus.
And what would be the best scenario for your strategy?
So if we look at 2015, in the first half of the year, when the market was very strong, the fund was essentially flat because essentially the gains from the longs were offset by the losses in the shorts. In the second half of 2015, the fund performed well in a slightly more difficult environment because the stock-specific nature of the fund became apparent. So a flat, volatile environment or a flat market with limited volatility works fine. If the market surges or collapses, usually the NAV doesn't make much progress.